Welcome back, blade lovers. This old sword. And I got a little guy for you today. Still moving along the trend of interesting fixed blades. I seem to have developed an interest of late. You can get kind of tired of folders, but hey, they're still wonderful, of course. But fixed blades, they're kind of fascinating. They've got some advantages over folders and the other way around. What is this one with the interesting maker's mark that looks like a raptor has scratched the blade with 4 lines? It's a Bastinelli. One you don't see too often. Not sure they're still in production. They may be. This is kind of a rare one in sort of a beige green micarta. A really, really nice linen, I would call it linen micarta, based on the coarseness of the threads. It is called the Akeron La Sanction. And I didn't pull up my French translation dictionary beforehand, so you can check it out, and many of you may speak French, so you may know the meaning behind it. Look how interesting this guy is, and I wasn't 100% sure before I ordered it the size it would be. I know it was going to be on the small size. I know I just barely would get 4 fingers on there, which is kind of neat for its size. I mean, there's the size of it. It almost looks like a miniature, right? Yet, when I turn it point down, let's get back even a little more. When I turn it point down, all 4 fingers are on there, and the thumb can just seal the deal on the index finger, and you've got a pretty much melded to your hand Pakal point down knife with a mean worn cliff. Look at that point, right in line with the pretty much the center of the blade. Got a high grind for a knife of this size. It's 2/3 to 3/4 the height of the blade. We have a very aggressive, what I like to call a file-like jimping, running 2/3 of the way down the entire blade. Lanyard hole, contoured handle, fits in the hand beautifully. The work on this is exquisite. Now, this is not Fox knives. This is, I believe, an older company that Bastinelli was using in Italy called Viper. Still made in Italy. The blade isn't marked with the steel, but it is N690Co. It is a nice, kind of a satiny finish bead blast. It's not tumbled, or maybe it's kind of a stone wash. A very fine stone wash, if it is. It's very close to being satin, but without the brush lines on it. Let's put the tape to it. Oh, by the way, before we do that, comes in a really nicely made Kydex sheath. Now, the one I got has no mounting. You could definitely put a lanyard through there for neck knife use, but the way that I foresee carrying it, notice that this is really nicely finished Kydex, where they chamfered the edge all the way around, so there's no sharp edges. But what I intend to do is heat this up a little bit with a heat gun, knife out, use a metal punch or nail set, something like that, of about this diameter, pry it up just a little bit so I end up with something Well, something similar to that. This is for the Bastinelli Red V2, where you've got a little bit of a push-off point there. And you've actually got it. I'm going to bring these out again. This is ideal. Okay, this is the TS265 by Tucson, which I reviewed. You got almost a bit of a tunnel in there, but it's a perfect push-off point for the thumb. Anyway, I plan on modding that sheath, but it is a well done, ample gauge Kydex sheath with 5 grommets. Okay, now let's get to the measurements. Overall length, 6 1/4 inches. Not even, just a little under 6 1/4. We've got a blade to the handle of 3 inches. And we've got an edge from the point slightly less than 2 3/4. Thicknesses. Blade in millimeters, 3.5 millimeters. Handle thickness in inches, 0.51, I'll call it a 1/2 inch. And a weight without the sheath of only 2.735 ounces. Let's put it in the sheath, and we've got 3.385. Very light carryable knife. Now for some comparisons, as I promised. Here is the Bastinelli Red V2. Not sure if I singled this out for review, but it is a very capable, roughly 4-inch bladed tactical defensive knife that Bastion Cove is known for designing. Very comfortable in the hand, but it's not going to carry as discreetly as this little guy. As I mentioned earlier, here's the recently reviewed Tucson TS265 designed by Mazwan Mokhtar. That also is a beautiful, smaller front pocket carry knife. For further comparison, how big is it next to a standard folding knife? There's the Benchmade Griptilian. Sizably bigger, significantly bigger. Longer blade by a bit, certainly longer handle. Yep, that fits all 4 fingers with a finger left over. But this you can tuck away just about anywhere. Doesn't matter if you use it as a neck knife or a front pocket knife. Again, with the proper modifications to that sheath, I can just pop it right off of there, and I'm not able to catch it there, but it's got just the right tension, I would say, in that sheath. And you know what? You can EDC this guy all day long. The Wharncliffes are certainly useful knives when it comes to food prep. You can go this way for detail work. You can go this way for what we call a sharp finger in martial blade tactics, where you can quickly jab with that knife if you needed to protect yourself. You can cut with it, same way. Or you can choke fully up, and again, very close for my hand, medium large. I'm almost getting that pinky on there. If I didn't get the pinky on there, it wouldn't really matter. This still can get seated pretty comfortably into the hand. The interesting thing about the design is that Bastinelli likes, he got a lot of his influence from Fred Perrin, and Fred Perrin likes the concept of using the blade as a guard. If you drop the blade low enough, and by the way, because it's low, you've got a working edge where your fingers can be kept off of a cutting surface if you're prepping food or cutting a rope or what have you. It's just a neat little knife. May not be popular amongst everybody viewing this because of its size, but I would call it big small. You've got a hell of a tall blade with a very useful edge and a point. And I don't think you're going to lose it. You get that in your hand, it isn't going anywhere. So those are the specs. Those are some of the facts. Hope you enjoyed this. Give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe. This old sword, signing out.